Sup folks, welcome to the part 11, of What If Deku Get Reborn as a Vampire, Chapter 74. Izuku was busy in the past couple days, sorting out the prisoners. Who was from where? What crimes did they commit? All that. That and the funerals. He's just now getting around to interrogating them. He was interrogating the capo from the Russian group. Victor was gonna be here soon to translate. Izuku knew enough to hold a conversation, but he didn't know enough for this. At least he wasn't sure he did. Victor was gonna get here through a portal. There wasn't any other way, as they were on a boat Grinhead lying around somewhere. He was fishing above deck. A knock on the door lets him know Victor is here. "Come in," says Izuku. "Hey boss," says Victor before freezing. "What's the matter?" asks Izuku. "It's him," says Victor. "Really?" asks Izuku. "I thought it'd be a little harder to find him." "Well, it wasn't," says Victor. "All right. The interrogation's off. Kill him. Take your time if you want. I'll get the tongues if you want," says Izuku. "What's him?" asks the bastard they've got tied up. "Izuku should kill him. Like right now. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Okay, whoa. Settle down. Kill him for sure, just not in a blood rage before you get what you need." Izuku looks at him before slugging him across the cheek. "You speak English, you bastard?" "Whatever he thinks I've done, I didn't do it," says bastard. "Honestly, I don't care," says Izuku. Victor strolls over and wraps his hand around the bastard's throat. It's mostly just choking noises, but Izuku distinctly heard him say, "I'll talk. Take a break, big guy." "What was that?" asks Izuku. "I'll talk. I'm not dying for those bums," says bastard. Izuku's gonna let Victor kill this guy anyway, but he doesn't need to know that. "That's too damn bad," says Victor before wrapping his hands around the bastard's throat. Izuku takes his hands off, drags him away and says, "He said he'll talk." Izuku winks at Victor. He knows Victor hates waiting, but he'll have to deal with it. "Wherever you drop him off, I'll find him," says Victor before storming out of the room. That was a damn good performance. A little short, maybe a little too accepting, but believable. "All right. Right off the bat, I hate you," says Izuku. "What's your name?" "Ivan," says Ivan. "Fuck you, Ivan," says Izuku. "Fuck you too," says Ivan. That's fair, but he's not in a position to say that shit. Izuku cracks his fist against Ivan's wrist, where they've got him dangling from the ceiling. It crunches and Ivan groans. "Fuck me? No, no, no. Fuck you," says Izuku. "I need names, crimes, addresses, quirks, anything that can help me fuck your entire syndicate. If you don't tell me what I want to know, I'm gonna let my big buddy back in here with a pair of fucking gelding tongs." "What the fuck is a gelding tong?" asks Ivan. "They're used on temperamental horses. It calms them down a bit. At least I think it's what they're used for. Either way, we're gonna clip your balls off," says Izuku. "I'll kill you if you do," says Ivan. "No balls," challenges Izuku. "How about starts Ivan?" "Shut up," says Izuku. "I'm done with the fun part. Talk to me or I let the big guy back in here." A while later, Izuku has a list of people, their crimes, and their addresses. It's not exactly heroic, but he imagines he can just kick their doors down, shoot them up and leave. "Well, Ivan, I hate you for all I've got. But I still gotta say thank you for your cooperation," says Izuku before standing up and turning around. "Aren't you gonna let me go?" asks Ivan. "Somebody's gonna come by and take care of you," says Izuku. "Fuck you, let me go," says Ivan, as Izuku leaves the room. Just a trip to the deck and there he is fishing with Grin. "Come on," says Izuku. "How'd it go?" asks Victor. "Sang like a bird," says Izuku. "Good," says Victor. "You want me to go get the tongs?" asks Izuku. "Those are disgusting," I'm not using those, says Victor. They're more for threat than anything, says Izuku. So you're not gonna use them? Asks Victor. I never said that. I don't want to use them, but I guess I will if nothing else works, says Izuku. That's gross, says Victor. Yeah, says Izuku. Here we are, says Victor. You excited? Asks Izuku. Unbelievably, replies Victor as he opens the door. Hey, you said you'd keep him out of here, says Ivan. I lied, said Izuku. Izuku can see the fear creep onto Ivan's face. Good. He had this coming. What did I even do? I don't recognize you at all, says Ivan. You murdered my wife and daughter, says Victor before taking him off the hook, holding him up and throwing him against a wall. Izuku grabs the chair he was sitting in earlier and perches himself there. I'm awful sorry, but that doesn't really narrow it down, says Ivan. Victor pulls out his wallet and shows Ivan a picture. Oh, them, says Ivan. I've got no fucking idea. Just shoot me already. Victor stomps on his knee. Damn, that crunch was loud. Not as loud as the accompanying shout, but still filled the room pretty well. This isn't gonna be that easy, says Victor. Ivan looked like he had something to say. He wouldn't get the chance as Victor ended up breaking his jaw with his next swing, his sternum with the next, a rib with the one after that. Again and again and again. Victor was covered in this guy's blood, especially his arms, just soaked crimson. It was gonna be a real pain washing that out of his arm hair. Hey Victor, says Izuku. Victor's head snaps back like he's in a trance. Izuku doesn't even blame him. He'd do the same if someone took Eri or Toga from him. Losing both'd be too much for him. I think he's dead already, says Izuku. I know that. You think I don't know that? I'm the one that killed him, says Victor sharply. Izuku puts his hands up disarmingly. I'm just making sure you know. Victor looks apologetic but doesn't say anything. It's fine. He's in a pretty bad place right now. But with this guy dead, maybe he can find some sort of peace. Maybe not though. Probably not. But hopefully. Victor lowers himself to the floor and rests against the wall. Must feel great, huh? Asks Izuku. Not at all, says Victor. Better? Sure. But not great. Well, it's a start, says Izuku. I don't think this is the kind of thing with an end. If there is, it ends when I do, says Victor. So what now? Asks Izuku. You got what you wanted. After how shit that raid went, there's no shame in leaving. I'm not leaving, says Victor. I don't want anybody to be where I've been. I know I can't make that happen, but maybe I can for just one person, you know. Help just one person and it all feels worth it. I get that, says Izuku. That and you're pretty much all I've got left, says Victor. That's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad to be here for you, says Izuku. I'm glad you're here for me too, says Victor. Grin opens the door and peeks in. He kinda ruined the moment. Well, maybe he saved it from going any further south. Are you okay down here? The whole boat's been shaking for a couple minutes, says Grin. Is that all it was? Just a couple minutes? We're fine, says Izuku before looking at Victor. I'll be alright, says Victor. Okay. I'll leave you to it, says Grin. Geez, what happened to that guy? Grin doesn't wait for an answer. That was actually kinda funny when Izuku thinks about it. He wasn't in a funny mood though. They kinda sit there for a bit longer. It's about as awkward as you'd expect from a fat Russian man sitting in a pool of blood and a hungry vampire. I'm gonna go wash off all the blood, says Victor. Then, I'm gonna chum the waters with this asshole. Have fun with that, says Izuku. Don't worry about that. I'll have a blast, says Victor. The blood smearing the walls and floors of the interrogation room would be a big help to Izuku. It was pretty scary. painted a mental image of what he could do if he needed or even wanted to. He hoped he wouldn't have to torture these animals, but he'd be lying if he said he wasn't at least a little excited at the idea of it. Speaking of torture, he's bringing another guy in right now. Name? Asks Izuku. Peter. Replies Peter, or Izuku's next victim. Well, Pete. It's shit to meet you. I fucking hate you. Says Izuku. Screw you, buddy. What's your name? Retorts Peter. Guldern Betane none. Says Izuku. Really? Asks Peter. Yeah. Says Izuku sharply. As in Tane none of your Guldern business. The third. Izuku was having a little too much fun for someone who was about to beat a man to death, but it's vampiric nature, you can't blame him. Well, you can and probably should. He doesn't blame himself though. Most of the people Izuku talked to were pretty talkative. No loyalty. No honor. No camaraderie. He's glad it was easy, but he was sickened that they would just throw their own under the bus so easily. He should have seen it coming. These chump suckers would do anything to save their hides. One guy surprised him though. He just wouldn't talk. His eyes were black, his lips were split. He was covered in bruises and he had a couple broken bones. Izuku could almost respect him. As fun as it was, Izuku had been there all fucking day. He went and got the tongs. Lucky him, as soon as he heated them up the guy started talking. After everything, Izuku washed all the blood off of himself. His shirt was pretty much soaked, so he wasn't wearing it anymore. He met Victor and Grin above deck and spent the rest of the day fishing with them. He needed a break. Just him and his low-budget dads. The nice thing about fishing is that it's peaceful. It's pristine and it gives you time to think. Izuku let his mind wander. First to the mess downstairs. Apparently Grin just knows people that clean stuff like that up for a living. Bury bodies if they have to. It's dirty work, but it must pay well. Not that Izuku's interested. But if he weren't a vigilante, a job like that wouldn't be bad for him. All the blood he'd need to make go away. He's got the perfect spot for it. A fish jumps out of the water. Whoa. He finds himself thinking about what he's gonna do with the information he's got. Is he gonna give it to the heroes? Think about it step by step what happens. He tells the heroes everything. They arrest them. They get off anyway. They buy out juries. They get broken out of jail by other snakes. He can't do that. It's amazing how well these guys can just escape any consequences for their actions. He's got to kill them. Not him specifically. He's sure he could talk some. Actually most if not all of the vigilantes into using more lethal methods. So they kill them. Just break into their homes and shoot them. It's dishonorable. It's unethical. It's brutal. But most of all it's well deserved. He'll do it. Public opinion on him and his group is mixed. On one hand he keeps criminals off the streets. On the other hand he's admittedly done a lot of damage himself. He's anonymous so he can't be held accountable. That forest he burnt down fighting Overhaul just now grew back to where it was with the help of multiple plant works. Heroes have trouble dealing with the syndicates. They have to hold to their morals. Izuku can go as far as he needs. He can go even further if he feels it's warranted. But not everybody agrees with what's necessary and what isn't. Some people even think he's evil. He thinks that's pretty stupid. He gets the whole necessary evil still makes you evil argument, but he disagrees with it and thinks the people who hold it against him are smooth-brained. If it's necessary, it's not evil and neither is he. The Hero Commission hates him. They're constantly telling people that he's out of control. That he's dangerous. He sets a precedent that'll get most people killed. But people can make their own damn decisions. If they want to follow in his footsteps, it's their choice. He's not dragging them out here. But people should be out here. He shouldn't have to tell them to. People should see these dogs killing people in the streets, robbing people, selling human beings. They should see that these bastards don't even stop for children. They should want to do something. They watch the news and they hear someone say that a child was killed. That a family was robbed and has nothing left. They hear that like it's normal. It's not normal. They need to get angry. They need to get out of their shells. They don't need to do what he's doing, and kill them himself. In an ideal world Katsueki wouldn't exist. They need to wonder why their governments can't seem to protect them from the real monsters. Why do 73% of syndicate members that get arrested get out and re-offend? Heroes don't do anything because they're not allowed to. Then they get blamed when things go wrong. That's not to say they don't deserve to be blamed, but the majority of the problems with modern-day law enforcement isn't the police or the heroes, it's the commissions that control them. He's not saying he's gonna, but he'd honestly kill some of them if he ever gets done with the syndicates. It's not exactly his top priority after that either. After that he's going after sex trafficking. The syndicate does it, but they aren't the only ones. After that maybe the politicians. Actually no. He'd need to look into it more, but he's pretty sure there are countries out there that still practice slavery. He'll kill them next. Then he's gonna kill the corrupt politicians. But that's actually a ways away. All that could take him a couple decades if not more. It's not like he didn't have time being semi-immortal and all. Oh hey, Izuku's got a fish on his line. Izuku reels it in and picks it up. He takes a picture with it to send to Toga. He looks cute as hell. What was he just thinking about? Oh shit. He totally forgot to mention this earlier, but he's had 5 capos tell him where they think the head snake ran off to. He'd need to case the place out, but it's a solid lead. Chapter 75. Izuku, Dabi, and Grin were all in Grin's living room. Izuku being in a living room isn't lost on him, by the way. It occurs to him pretty much every time he's in one. Anyway, they were just hanging out. They were all a little drunk and they'd managed to slip into a comfortable silence. Hey, kind of a weird thought, starts Grin. Uh-oh. But pretty much as soon as I found out who he was and what he did, I wanted to kick Sigmund Freud's ass, says Grin. Man, what the fuck? Asks Izuku. So you don't wanna do it? Asks Grin. Izuku sighs. Course I fucking do. I second that, says Dabi. That dude's gross. They all kinda hum in agreement, before falling back into a brief silence. Y'all wanna ask each other funny invasive questions? Asks Dabi. Fuck sure, says Izuku. Why not? Replies Grin. Embarrassing story. Right now, says Dabi. Oh geez, let me think, says Izuku. Yeah, I'ma need a minute on that one. Actually no, I'm not, says Grin. So this was way back. I was young and my joints didn't hurt like a bitch. Preach brother, says Dabi. So I'm in high school, right? Says Grin. Damn, this shit happened in the 1800s? Asks Izuku. Fuck you. So I'm talking to this girl, right? Says Grin. Get it, G? Says Dabi. I was talking to her for like half a year, maybe more. I didn't have the confidence I have now, so I wasn't really making moves. Well, I end up talking to a mutual friend. My buddies are hanging out together. So I'm talking to the mutual friend. I don't remember how exactly, it was so long ago. But I ended up admitting that I liked the girl. Says Grin. Oh shit. Did the mutual rat you out? Asks Izuku. Grin sighs. It's worse. It's worse. Parrots Izuku in shock. Man. All the months we'd been talking she never bothered to mention her girlfriend. Says Grin. Izuku and Dabi burst out laughing at Grin. Grin chuckles with them. In hindsight it was pretty funny. Oh man. I can't believe you spent all that time chasing a lesbian. Says Izuku. That's gotta hurt. Like a mother. Says Grin. It was pretty funny though. All my friends were laughing at me. Izuku and Dabi started laughing again. It takes them a couple minutes to settle down. You got anything for us, kid? Asks Grin. Fuck, I'm still thinking. Says Izuku. It's cool. I've got one. Says Dabi. Hella. Says Izuku. So this was back a ways. Before I was a villain. I still had a home and a family and all that shit. I was pretty young, but my childhood blurs together, so I can't really give you a time frame, just young. Says Dabi. Is there a bathroom between now and the story? Asks Izuku. I'm getting there, damn. Says Dabi. So I'd gotten into the habit of parroting shit back at people. Like if someone called me stupid or ugly, I'd go, no you're stupid or no you're ugly. But I was doing it for everything. Well, one day I'm hanging out with my siblings, doing something. My mom comes in with hot chocolate and gives us some. I used to love hot chocolate. Laments Izuku. So she gives it to us and she says, be careful, it's kinda hot, and I go, no you're kinda hot. Wait a minute, I didn't mean it like that. Says Dabi. Like halfway through the sentence, Izuku started dying laughing. He fell off the couch and was rolling on the floor. He was crying. Grin was laughing too, but it wasn't as hard. Sigmund Freud's really coming through on that one. Says Izuku between peals of laughter. Now it was Grin's turn to start rolling. Dabi couldn't help but laugh with them. He was still embarrassed though. After rolling on the floor for what had to be 5 minutes, Izuku and Grin were back in their seats. Izuku was rubbing the tears out from under his eyes. Alright. You've been laughing at us long enough. Says Grin, let's hear yours. Fuck man. I didn't have friends at all growing up. I really didn't have a stage to embarrass myself on. Says Izuku. That's too damn bad. Says Dabi, think of something. Shit. Okay. Says Izuku, does getting my ass beat in front of the whole school count? No. You still do that and it's not that embarrassing. Says Dabi. Izuku sighs. There was this one time where someone grabbed one of my journals and read all my shit in front of the class. Or the time I got punched in the stomach and threw up on the principal's new shoes. Maybe the time my aunt showed up at school and yelled at all the other kids for picking on me. Just to name a few. Dabi and Grin just stare at him. They glance between each other. Dabi starts laughing. His hand reaches to where he's pulling his staples. You were such a loser. Says Dabi while laughing uncontrollably. Izuku laughs with him. Grin joined soon after. This one time I was tied to the top of the school's flagpole and we needed the fire department to get me down. Says Izuku. Dabi's rolling on the floor. Another time I got tripped and went down an entire flight of stairs. Says Izuku. Dabi's fucking howling at this point. This other time I got jumped by a couple students and they took my wallet. Says Izuku chuckling. Dabi makes a face at that one. Ooh. This guy told me to dive off the roof once. Says Izuku. Dabi just stops laughing at that one. In hindsight those last two weren't that funny. That's kinda sad. Says Dabi. It wasn't that bad. Says Izuku. Well shit, the moment's ruined. The silence is uncomfortable. Bummer. One time I had to explain what a MILF is to my aunt because all the students called her one. Says Izuku. Moments back. Author's note: I'm gonna save the actual comment responses for the actual next chapter. I just wanted to write this. This one was super fun. It was really fun because Dabi's and Grin's stories were actually just mine. They kinda sucked in the moment but they're hilarious, so I thought I'd share them. Chapter 76. After all of his interrogations, Izuku had names, crimes, and homes. He's gonna be busy with all that. Not that he wasn't busy before. What I'm saying is he's busy. Even before he can get busy with that, he's gotta sort through all of the guns they took after the raid. See what he wants. Ask any of his friends if they want any and all that. That, however, is not a gun. It's a USB. An actual stick of syndicate information. Why didn't anybody show him this? Well, that's great. He has to call this off for now and see what's on here. He texts Dabi and Kurogiri so he can get a laptop sent to him. Before that he should sort through all of this. At least he should get started. He's managed to put all the pistols on a counter in the basement? Bomb shelter? Wherever Grant sent him. before Kurogiri came through with a laptop. "Good morning, Mr. Midoriya," says Kurogiri, handing him the laptop. "Hi Kurogiri. How you doing?" asks Izuku. "Well, thank you," replies Kurogiri. "How are you?" "Busy, but good," says Izuku as he plugs it in. He's not exactly used to this, but shouldn't it be password protected? Stuff like this is either password protected or just doesn't exist. "That's good," says Kurogiri. "Do you need something?" asks Izuku. He's not against talking to Kurogiri, but he's usually in and out. "My master wanted to know what you need the laptop for?" asks Kurogiri. "Found a USB," replies Izuku. "He doesn't have anything to hide, does he? He usually leaves me alone. I don't doubt that he knows what I'm doing, but he usually doesn't get involved. Nothing you could do anything about, and he's just curious," replies Kurogiri, not in a rude way. He was just talking. "But there is something?" asks Izuku before freezing. He gets up and walks over to his pistol pile. He grabs a derringer, opens it up and takes both bullets out. Except they're not bullets. They're needles. Cork erasers. That's not good. So these guys made this deal before Izuku took Eri. Or Overhaul is still producing these. If so, how? What's wrong? Asks Kurogiri. Overhaul might still be making bullets, says Izuku. How? Asks Kurogiri. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if he is, but he might be, says Izuku. He needs to find Rappa. Izuku walks over to the laptop and looks around a little more. They don't know anything about the bullet production. He looks around a little more. Why did this guy even write all of this down? Maybe he'd pass it to his second-in-command if he died, or something. Ooh, what's this? It's a home address for the head snake. Well shit, he's got another shot of this. So what's first? Organize the raid or talk to Rappa? How would he even go about killing the snake? Dobby could melt him, his axe could cut him, he could use his rocket launcher or his anti-tank rifle and just blast him. Whatever, he'll deal with it later. Rappa comes first. Find anything? Asks Kurogiri. I've got nothing on the Yakuza, but I've got another lead with the snake. You think your boss would let me borrow Rocky? Asks Izuku. Shigaraki wouldn't have a problem dealing with this guy if they could get him close. I'm afraid I'd have to stop that one before it reaches my boss. I won't risk harming my young master unless my true master orders it, says Kurogiri. Could you at least task him? Asks Izuku. He's going to say no, says Kurogiri. Then ask Rocky himself, says Izuku. I refuse, says Kurogiri. Alright, I give, says Izuku. I'm leaving. I got to go talk to a Yakuza buddy of mine. Rappa? Asks Kurogiri. Yep, says Izuku. Izuku arranged for Margarita to take over for him. He'd call Victor for this, but he's gonna give him a little space. Margarita can get the job done. She's smart, strong, and dependable. So he's not worried. He did take the cork erasing bullets with him, though. That's the only gun he had time to distribute. Right now he's in the back of the fight club where Rappa frequents. He's not easy to miss. He's huge and loud. Most people here are loud, but Rappa's something else. Izuku isn't dressed in his suit. He's ended up wearing that less and less. It makes him too recognizable. The only constant in his outfit is his shoes and his mask. He works his way from the back wall to Rappa's table and takes a seat across from him. Who the hell are, oh, says Rappa. Izuku pretends to tip a hat he isn't wearing. Howdy partner. Here for a rematch? Asks Rappa. Here on business, says Izuku. What's going on? Asks Rappa. Your boss still making bullets? Asks Izuku. Yeah, says Rappa. How? Asks Izuku. Meet me in the ring and I'll tell you, says Rappa. Izuku mulls it over. Skill match. I want a 10-second knockout or a 3-second pin. Actually, I'll count a ring out too. The cage seems sturdy enough to hold us, but on the off chance we go through it'll be pretty interesting. Wussing out on me? Last time we fought you were a man. Where'd that go? Asks Rappa. What I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this room, okay? Says Izuku. Sure, says Rappa. I'm gonna kill the snake soon. As soon as possible actually. I'm not fighting him crippled. Says Izuku. Can I come? Asks Rappa. Izuku smiles behind his mask. He's got him. Only if you answer my questions. Says Izuku. No, I want the fight with you more. Says Rappa. Maybe he doesn't have him. Crap. How's this? I get one question now and I promised to take you with me. Then we fight our skill match and I get the rest of my questions. Says Izuku. Sounds good. Says Rappa. Is Overhaul working with the snakes, in any way? Asks Izuku. Yes. Says Rappa. If you want more information you'll have to beat it out of me. How do we go about setting up a match? Asks Izuku. I've got a match set after this one. When this ends we get 10 minutes before mine starts. I'm gonna go talk to some people. Get us all set up. Says Rappa. Sure. Says Izuku before Rappa takes off. Izuku saunters over to the bar. He orders a drink and sips on it through a straw he slid under his mask. I gotta say, you look real familiar. Says the barkeep. Do I? Asks Izuku. You look like the vigilante with the mask and everything. Says the barkeep. But you're not. Right? Izuku looks at him kinda funny. I'm here for the fights, don't worry. Says Izuku. Says the barkeep. He's visibly sweating. Izuku feels a heavy hand on his shoulder. We're set to go on in 10 minutes. People are placing their bets. They're betting on me by the way. Says Rappa. Sucks for them. Says Izuku. Rappa laughs with him. Izuku slides his drink over and they wait till they're called up. He probably shouldn't be doing this. Izuku walks up the steps to the ring. He can feel people staring at him. He looks back into the crowd and waves at them. He's not too sure what to think of where he is right now. It doesn't seem like they know what to think either. In this corner we've got Rappa. We've all seen him. I don't need to hype him up. He is the hype. On the other hand we've got Katsueki. Unseen but certainly not unheard of. He defies death time and time again. Let's see if Rappa can finally put this mad dog down. Comes the announcer's voice. What's that? Okay. Alright, change of plans everybody. This is not a death match. It's a skill match. 10-second knockout, 3-second pin, or a ring out is what our contenders need to win. We've got the rematch of the century and it starts here and now. The bell rings and Izuku and Rappa rush each other. Izuku pumps up his shock absorption and Rappa starts swinging. Rappa was hitting a lot harder than he was either of the last times they fought. He must have been working out a lot since then. One particular hit took Izuku off his feet and threw him into the cage wall behind him. Rappa was moving his arms too fast. It was like trying to punch through a fan blade. Izuku couldn't hit the body or the head. Boxing was off the table. Izuku was gonna have to grapple with him. Margarita had taught him a lot about that. Izuku lowers himself and approaches again. Rappa shoots him a grin before rushing him. Rappa goes for his head and Izuku ducks under his legs, grabs them and flips Rappa onto his chest. Izuku folds Rappa's legs back onto his back and keeps pulling them further and further back. Rappa struggles, he kicks and twists. He can't get out until he just says fuck it and slams his fist onto the stage. Izuku and Rappa both bounce into the air and land with a thud. Rappa isn't getting up yet, so Izuku climbs up the cage and throws himself elbow first on top of Rappa. After that he grabs both of Rappa's arms and pins his shoulders with his knees. 1. Comes the announcer's voice. 2. Before he can reach 3, a wall to their right explodes and pro-heroes and cops flood the building. Izuku throws Rappa out of the ring and jumps after him. A hero throws some metal ball at Izuku and he slaps it out of the way. Izuku rams through the brick wall to their side and he and Rappa go sprinting outside. The whole place is surrounded by cops. A volley of shots come their way and Izuku throws Rappa onto the roof before jumping after him. Izuku ended up getting shot twice. His shock absorption was gone faster than he thought it'd be. It's fine, he had enough juice to heal them. Rappa on the other hand got shot thrice in his left ankle. "Shit, you good?" asks Izuku. "I've had worse," says Rappa. Izuku peeks out and gets shot at. He immediately ducks back down. "I'm getting you out of here. Then you're gonna tell me what I won from our match," says Izuku. Rappa just grunts. Izuku picks Rappa up and hoists him onto his back. He leaps off the roof, destroying some of the tile in the process. They get chased for a while. It's actually Ingenium chasing them. Izuku's a big fan and he really hates to do this, but he pulls out his pistol and fires a shot at Ingenium's stomach. He jumps clean over it and kicks the gun out of Izuku's hand. "Ketsueki?" asks Ingenium. Izuku doesn't say anything. "Oh my god, it is you," says Ingenium. "Nice to meet you, man. Listen, I can see you're busy carrying this guy to safety, but could you stop by my hero agency sometime?" "What?" "Sure," says Izuku. "Cool. I'll tell everyone I lost you." "It's not unbelievable. I mean, you shook All Might," says Ingenium before turning and leaving. "Neat." Izuku carries Rappa to an apartment building and comes down from the roof. "You live here?" asks Rappa. "Nah. But I saved the owner's life, so he keeps a room for me as a little safe house," says Izuku. "Cool," says Rappa. Izuku drops him off on a couch and grabs a first aid kit. While Izuku's getting to work on his leg, he decided to talk to him. "How are you guys allied with the serpent?" asks Izuku. "They feed us money, we produce our bullets," says Rappa. "Are you gonna get rid of them? Your boss wanted to rule, didn't he?" asks Izuku. "My boss hasn't chased you down and killed you because he thinks you're gonna get rid of them," says Rappa. "How are you guys still making bullets?" asks Izuku. "As luck would have it, I knew a guy who could completely recreate a body if he spent enough time studying it," says Rappa. "You cloned her?" asks Izuku. "No. Well, kinda. We cloned her body. It's pretty much just a chunk of flesh. It doesn't think or feel. It's almost like a doll, I guess," says Rappa. "You're sure it can't feel?" asks Izuku. "Yep. It's just like a doll," says Rappa. "Where's your new base?" asks Izuku. "That's a no-go," says Rappa, "at least until I beat Overhaul." "Thought so," says Izuku before going quiet. "I'll give you a couple freebies," says Rappa. "The doll isn't as strong as the real deal for some reason and we're getting delayed. He's gonna come after you eventually." "Good to know," says Izuku. "Is the finished product ready?" "It's not," says Rappa. "Anything else I should know?" asks Izuku. "We work with the snakes but we don't get along with them. They've lost a lot of money to you and they've been late on payments. I think they're working overtime in trying to hunt you and your boys down. I'd watch out for that," says Rappa. "It's their funeral," says Izuku. Izuku stands up and strolls to the window before looking out. "Anything else?" asks Rappa. "You still coming with me to kill the snake?" asks Izuku. "Shit. Probably not. My leg's all busted and Overhaul's gonna want me to stay home if I'm hurt. It's the way he is. Protect his assets and all that. He could heal me but he's mad at me right now," says Rappa. "It's fine," says Izuku. "I'm heading out. You leave whenever you can. If you let anybody know about this place, I'm cleaning out every fighting ring in Japan." Chapter 77. Izuku's entrance exam letter is supposed to show up tonight. He's excited for that even though he's pretty sure he failed. At least he'll know, you know? Before that he's gonna visit Ingenium. He said he would after all. He's not sure how he's gonna get in there. He's not sure if it's a trap, but that's alright, he's wearing a bomb. Worst case he tells them to fuck off or he blows, then he flies away. He's wearing his suit. He still likes to wear it sometimes. It's weird that it makes him a little nostalgic. It wasn't that long ago he'd started wearing the thing. These days he only wears it for big things. It's got lots of pockets. For various weapons, tools, all that. Oh shit, he can see Ingenium through a window. That must be his office. He leaps from the roof he's on to the side of the Ingenium Hero Agency and knocks on the window. Ingenium looks up at him and Izuku waves at him. "Hey. I didn't think you'd actually be here," says Ingenium as he opens the window. "I said I would," replies Katsueki. "Still," says Ingenium, "well, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to talk." "About what?" asks Katsueki. "If you don't mind, I'd like to talk about you," says Ingenium. "I might choose to opt out of a couple questions, but sure," says Katsueki as he takes a seat across from Ingenium. "Before I start with all the questions, I should tell you why I'm asking them," says Ingenium. Izuku's hand drops to the detonator on his hip. "Before we do anything, I'd like to make it clear to you I'm carrying a sizable bomb," says Katsueki. "Oh. Well, alright then, I'll keep that in mind," says Ingenium. Katsueki nods. "I was wondering if you'd be willing to work with my hero agency?" "Probably not," says Katsueki. "Which is more than fine, but I'd still love to get to know you and your thought process a little better," says Ingenium. "Maybe I can talk you into joining after all." "Maybe," replies Katsueki. "Great. What got you started?" asks Ingenium. "Buddy of mine almost got murdered in front of me. Saved him," says Katsueki. "I thought it was the mugging that got you started," says Ingenium. "That was a mugging?" asks Katsueki. "We never could get the guy on a rape charge." "I don't know too much about it," says Ingenium. "I shoulda killed him," says Katsueki. "Think so?" asks Ingenium. "He had it coming," says Katsueki. "Death?" asks Ingenium. "He's a literal rapist." "Yes," says Katsueki. "That's fair. Though that kind of thinking is a little outdated," says Ingenium. "If people still thought like that, we wouldn't have these problems," says Katsueki. "So that's why you do it?" asks Ingenium. "I wanted to know why you started killing out of nowhere. It's like you said, the death penalty is considered outdated, but these scumbags don't deserve to live. If no one else is gonna kill them, it might as well be me. It might as well be you. It's our civic duty to make sure people like them die," says Katsueki. "Don't you think that job should go to the government?" asks Ingenium. "I would, but they don't do their job. I've brought people in with all the evidence they need and the bastard gets off. It doesn't matter that they were brought in by a vigilante, they're clearly guilty. It's this idea that everyone can change, that you can make up for any crime. You can't. They deserve to die. The government won't kill them, so the people, or at least a person, should," says Katsueki. "That's a really interesting thought process. I see the logic, although I disagree. I think people can change. I understand there are crimes that can't be made up for, but I think you're too strict. I enjoyed talking with you, but I don't think this is gonna work out. I'm not gonna arrest you. You're free to go," says Ingenium. "Actually, I've got a couple questions for you," asks Izuku. "Oh, go for it," says Ingenium. "What do you think about vigilantes?" asks Izuku. "I understand it. I try to hire vigilantes when I can. I think they're good people, but they're gonna get arrested and I'd like to keep them working and out of jail. I'm still willing to take you in, but I won't work with a killer," says Ingenium. "You know more vigilantes?" asks Katsueki. "I know Koichi. He mentioned you to me once," says Ingenium. "You know him by name?" asks Katsueki. "We're friends," says Ingenium. "What would you do if I gave you my name?" Asks Katsueki. I'd keep it a secret. Says Ingenium. His heart didn't pick up in the slightest. He's telling the truth. Izuku pulls his mask off and Ingenium stares at him with his jaw hanging down. Izuku? Asks Ingenium. What's it been, a week or two since we last spoke? Asks Izuku. Oh shit. Yeah, it was. It was you, me, Mick and Nimri. Loved the concert again. Says Tensei. I loved having you. I said it then and I'll say it again. Always been a fan. Always will be. Says Izuku. Dude, that's insane. Says Tensei. Man, I thought you were quirkless? Gosh. I am. I just have a non-quirk power. That's why I can't be DNA identified and all of that. It's more magic than anything else. Says Izuku. You're messing with me. Says Tensei. I'm not. I'm what's called a vampire. Says Izuku. Oh shit, really? Asks Tensei. You know about us? Asks Izuku. Dude. I read Bram Stoker's Dracula for a classic literature class. We chose a book and did a report on it. Says Tensei. Yeah. I'm part of his bloodline. He's my vampiric great-uncle. Says Izuku. Dude, that's wild. Says Unanium. That's actually insane. That makes sense though. In interviews I see you talking about how much you've changed recently. It's that. And all the blood you drink for vigilantism. You started because you had no choice, right? Hit the nail on the head, my man. Says Izuku. Damn. Says Tensei in shock. Hey, did you take the UA entrance exam? Yeah, actually I should get my results later today. Says Izuku. Right on. My brother told me about you. At least I think it was you. Says Tensei. Was I very clearly messing with him when he told the story? Asks Izuku. Yeah. Says Tensei. Izuku smiles. Yeah, that's me. He's a good kid. Says Tensei. Seems like it. He's a little stiff but he seems like he means well and all that. Says Izuku. For sure. Says Tensei. I gotta ask though. You're loose and light-hearted. I mean, you just found out I'm an infamous vigilante with a high body count and you're just okay with that. But he's so stiff. Where'd all that come from? Asks Izuku. Honestly, I've got no idea. Says Tensei. Izuku chuckles. It wasn't funny but he did it anyway. Dude, I still can't believe you're Katsueki. Says Tensei. Neither can I, man. Not too long ago I was still human. A little more recently I was a small-time vigilante. I did more shit for the communities I went through than actual crime stopping. I can't tell you how many lost pets I ended up tracking. Now I'm here. I'm wanted pretty much everywhere on Earth. I've practically got an entire gang of vigilantes backing me. Although I guess we're a little more like a proper yakuza with our ethics and all of that. Says Izuku. It's gotta be a lot to take in. Says Tensei. For sure. Says Izuku. So how does your group work? Asks Tensei. How do you mean? Asks Izuku. Like hierarchy? Asks Tensei. I never stated that I was in charge, but everybody calls me boss and asks me what to do, so I guess I am. After that there isn't any real structure, but Wolfman is the guy I go to for pretty much everything, so he's kinda my second in command. Behind him was Texas Red, bless his soul. Then it devolved from there, but I ask the Boston Bashers to back me up pretty often. Bunch of good old boys. Always down for a fight and damn good at it too. I've pulled some pros to help me before, but that's not too often. I know some criminals who make it clear they don't work for me but they work with me. That's pretty much the gist of it, you know? Rants Izuku. Yeah, I get the picture. I always thought it was more organized. Says Tensei. Doesn't need to be. Anybody can step up and fight for a cause. All we need is manpower and grit. And planning. Actually, I've lost some friends of mine and I probably could have prevented that. Says Izuku. It's not your fault, man, that kind of thing happens in our line of work. Says Tensei. I appreciate what you're saying, man, but I'm their boss. They get hurt or killed on my watch, it's automatically my fault, says Izuku. I'm sorry you think that, says Tensei. Hums Izuku in response. Tensei's phone starts buzzing. Oh shit, you gotta go, says Tensei. Oh? Asks Izuku. Yeah, my brother's coming over. He got his letter from UA, we're gonna open it together, says Tensei. You have fun. He did pretty good, he'll probably be fine, says Izuku as he climbs out the window. Thanks, and you have a good one, says Tensei. You too, says Izuku as he throws himself out the window. Well, if that guy got his test result, Izuku probably got his. Izuku works his way home to open his letter. On the way there he gets a text from Mom. Mr. Yagi told her the results came in today and they're coming over to see what happens. Yagi probably already knows what happens. Well, here goes nothing. He claws it open and a little disc falls out. It immediately projects All Might directly into his face, causing him to fall out of his desk chair. I'm glad to see you, my boy, says All Might. How many times is Izuku gonna tell him not to call him that? On the written portion of the exam you passed with flying colors. You were actually one of the highest scoring test takers. Congratulations, says All Might. When is he gonna get to the practical test? Now for the practical test, says All Might. Cool. You scored a total of 20 points. A modest score but not unimpressive. What really put you above was your bravery when you saw someone in need, continues All Might. The projection cuts to him diving in to save the brunette. That's right, my boy, says All Might. The bastard. We took notice of your actions and rewarded you for it. A panel of judges decided to give you 25 rescue points, bringing your total score up to 45. A rather impressive score. Unfortunately, you were just 1 point short of the cutoff point. Oh. You were tied for last entrance spot and another student got in on a random chance. So officially you didn't make it. Unofficially you're getting in. I'm not too keen on the rules and regulations of running a hero school, but you can only let so many students in at the start of the year. However, we can transfer in more and more students as time goes on. Unfortunately, you will miss the first day of the heroics course, but we're going to set you up to transfer on your second day. Congratulations, young man. Apart from a simple technicality, you're enrolled in UA's hero course. Welcome to your hero academia, says All Might before the hologram flickers off. Huh. Well, that was a roller coaster. I mean, he made it. Kinda. That actually bothers him a lot. Don't get him wrong, he just got into the school of his dreams. He made it into the hero course. Which is great, like holy shit, he made it into Japan's best hero course without a quirk. But damn. Well, whatever, he's gonna go tell Mom the good news. Yo, says Izuku as he strolls downstairs. Hey, says Inko, how'd it go? Well, says Izuku. The color drains from Inko's face. I fucking made it, shouts Izuku before jumping and clicking his heels together. Inko practically flies over to him. He feels like he's getting crushed under a truck the way her arms are wrapped around him. He fakes a choking noise and Inko lets go and apologizes profusely. Immediately he reassures her, as soon as he's done laughing, that is. I'm so proud of you, baby, says Inko. Thanks, Mom, says Izuku. She's wonderful. I love you, says Inko. I love you too, says Izuku. Chapter 78. Everybody is still in Izuku's living room. Inko and Izuku just broke off another hug. I'm so happy for you. You've wanted this for so long. I'm so happy. Oh, I'm so happy, says Inko. Me too, says Izuku, grinning from ear to ear. Me too. Congrats, big man, says Dabi, patting him on the back. Thanks, boss, says Izuku. The congratulation goes on like this for a couple minutes. Izuku enjoys it. He's proud that he sorta made it. It bugs him a little that it's on a technicality. It kinda feels like pity, but whatever. He just did what literally everybody had told him he couldn't do for the past 10 or so years. It feels good. Real good. So what now? Asks Izuku. If you don't mind, I'd like to have a word. Says Mr. Yagi. Sure. Let's step out back. Says Izuku. Follow me. You have a nice yard. Says Mr. Yagi. Thanks, I just planted the cherry blossom. Says Izuku. You do a lot of work back here? Asks Mr. Yagi. When I have the time. Says Izuku. So what did you want to talk about? Well, my boy. Starts Mr. Yagi. This motherfucker. I wanted to congratulate you. I know it was on the technicality and you're gonna miss a day, but you did a great job. You proved me wrong. You probably proved a lot of others wrong too. So congratulations, I genuinely couldn't be prouder. Says Mr. Yagi. I gotta admit it feels pretty good to prove you wrong. Says Izuku. I also wanted to apologize for doubting you. We've had this conversation before and I never believed you. Now I don't have a choice in the matter. Says Mr. Yagi. Alright, well, first, he dirt, you were wrong. Second, don't worry about it, everybody was wrong. Except me, of course. Says Izuku. Izuku was in too good of a mood to be mean to Mr. Yagi today. Of course. Replies Mr. Yagi. I also brought you a gift. We talked about how you're getting more interested in faith, so I got you this. He pulls out a silver cross necklace. This motherfucker was really trying to Katsueki check him right now. Like right fucking now. He just couldn't let him celebrate? Izuku can't even get mad at him, like he just thought he wouldn't do or it'd be suspicious. But he is mad though. Like livid actually. Izuku takes it into his hand. He uses his fingernails where he can. It doesn't burn there like it does his skin. Oh, also he just had to pretend he didn't get flashbanged. The string wasn't silver though, so Izuku could run that over his neck fine. He fit the cross itself between his jacket and his undershirt so he didn't get burned. Thanks a lot, man. It's really nice. Says Izuku. Mr. Yagi is looking at him funny. Something wrong? Asks Izuku. I'm just glad you like it. Says Mr. Yagi. It's nice. Says Izuku. Well, we should probably get back inside. Says Mr. Yagi. For sure. Replies Izuku. It took a while for Mom and Mr. Yagi to leave. Izuku was glad Mr. Yagi was leaving. He'd have liked to keep his mom around for a while longer, but it is what it is. She has things to do, he gets it. So what to do now? He did want to go rub it in Bikigu's face that he made it. So he'll do just that. He texts Mitsuki to see if they're busy and she says no, so he heads over. Izuku's excited as he knocks on the door. He's gonna rub it in his face, the stupid ugly bastard. Hey Izuku. Says Masaru as he opens the door. Hey uncle. How ya been? Asks Izuku as he steps in. I've been fine. How about you? Asks Masaru. I've been great actually. Says Izuku. So you made it in? Asks Masaru. Izuku doesn't say anything, he just smiles from ear to ear and nods. I'm proud of you. I really am. Says Masaru. Thank you. Says Izuku. Hey kiddo. Comes Mitsuki. Hey auntie. Says Izuku. You pass? Asks Mitsuki. Izuku puts on that ear-to-ear grin, flexes, kisses the bicep, and says, you don't even gotta ask. Attaboy. Attaboy. Hey, my brat made it too. You keep an eye on him for me, will ya? Asks Mitsuku. You got it, not a problem. Says Izuku. You wanna talk to him? Asks Mitsuki. Yeah. Says Izuku. He's up in his room. Says Mitsuki. Izuku heads up the stairs. Alright, thank you. Knock knock, what? Snaps Bikigu. Come in. Says Izuku as he opens the door. What do you want? Asks Bikigu. Why are you even here? You couldn't just ask the hag to deliver a message. Show your mother some damn respect. But beyond that, I want you to know I made it. I passed the entrance exam. I made it in. Your dumbass kept telling me I couldn't, but I can, and I did, so eat dirt, dirt eater. You want a medal? I came in first, says Bikegu, plus I know you've got friends with the staff, you probably cheated. I don't care what you came in, bozo. Your dumbass was wrong all these years. Plus I made it in fair. Get fucked, bozo. I'll see you later, retard. Says Izuku as he steps out. Yeah, fuck off, cunt. I can still beat your ass. Says Bikegu. You smell like dog ass, you rat-looking bastard. Says Izuku as he closes the door. Damn, that felt good. That was very, very enjoyable. He should stop by and do this shit more often. One thing that's been eating Izuku up recently is at the entrance exam he told Bikegu he still cares. He's been thinking about it, and no, he doesn't. He cares about Mitsuki and Masaru. He'll help Katsuki to help them, but he's convinced that he really does hate Katsuki. Well, he's got better things to think about. As he drives home, he thinks about the syndicate. He's got a good lead on the snake's home address. He's gonna stake it out tonight and tomorrow. With any luck, he'll lead a raid and finally kill the bastard. The snake's current home was in Vermont. It was surrounded by forest. Vermont had a lot of forest apparently. It's a pretty state. He doesn't have much experience with it, but he appreciates the view from the top of the tree he's in. He's actually just by the road on the way to the snake's house. He recognizes some of the faces he can see through the windows. He saw the snake for just a second. He'd considered taking a shot, but he's far. He's got the tools for it this time. He has an anti-tank rifle with him. He figured nothing else would pierce the snake's hide. Well, he couldn't really call it a rifle anymore. He took the stock off and sawed the barrel down. It was more of an anti-tank pistol. A hand cannon. If he weren't as strong as he was, it would be hard to aim the thing, being as heavy as it is. Even if he does hit with it, shooting it breaks his wrist, but he doesn't know what else to do. The snake is too fast in close quarters for him to use, and an actual rifle that size. This was his best bet at blowing a hole through the bastard. A couple unmarked vans drive by his tree. What's that about? Reinforcements for something? Weapons? Drugs? Money? He'd have to wait till they get to the house. Except they park outside. They don't go in. Rival syndicate? No, none of them are ballsy enough for something like this. Dad? Oh shit, it's a raid. Heroes are here. There's an actual SWAT team here right now. Well, he might not need to do a thing. He'll wait and see though. He'd rather not move in if he can avoid it. He doesn't want to piss off the FBI or CIA or whoever. He doesn't know everything about American crime fighting. He's a foreigner. So far so good. Arrests are being made. Heroes and cops are moving throughout the building, and fuck. An armored car is taking off. It's the armored car they escaped from the beach house in. Well, actually they're heading down his way. He's lucky he brought his hand cannon with him. So he strolls out to the middle of the street and waits. He sees lights coming around the corner. He aims. The lights getting closer. He can hear the engine. He can smell burning rubber from their path down the mountain. He fires a shot as soon as the car turns the corner. And another for good measure. The car veers to the side. The engine catches fire. He must have killed the driver with his second shot. The car crashes into a tree. The snake and the titanium titan come out of the vehicle before it explodes. The explosion sent them to the ground, however. Izuku takes this chance to shoot them. Izuku blows the snake's left leg and tail clean off, and shoots Titan clean in the chest. Clang. Holy shit, he just stopped that with his bare chest. How tough was this guy? Well, I'll be damned. Says Izuku, you just tanked that shot. Izuku reloads, all quirks have limits. Fuck you. Says Titan. Dumb bitch. Says Izuku as he slams 4 more shots into the bastard's chest. He reloads again. Titan's on his feet now. At least he would be if Izuku didn't swipe his legs out from under him with another shot, followed by 2 more to the chest. He whips around and shoots the snake again. This time taking an arm off. "Stay down, bozo," says Izuku. Izuku reloads and slams 4 more shots into Titan. He was cracking. He could see it. 4 more shots. He was close. 4 more was all he had with him, but he's sure his axe could handle the rest if the bullets didn't. "You know where to go," says the snake. "I can't leave you, boss," says Titan. "Uh-oh." Izuku miscounted. "He's out." "Go ahead," says Izuku. "I'm getting what I came here for. I don't care if you get away. I'll get you later. Now that I know you can crack." "Fuck you," says Titan again. "Listen to me. We're losing. Go to him and help him rebuild." "He's got a plan," says the snake. "Does he?" asks Izuku, his gun never leaving Titan. "Fuck off," says the snake. "Fine," says Titan, "I'll go. But know this, vigilante, I will gut you. Maybe not today, but I will spill you." "Sure. Now get out of here before I change my mind," says Izuku. Titan runs off into the woods. "I'm out of ammo, dipshit." "He would have had me," says Izuku. "He would have been arrested," says Snake. "You care?" asks Izuku. "Yeah," says Snake. Izuku laughs at him. "Really? What about all the other people you and him hurt or kill? You don't care about them?" asks Izuku. "No. Not really," says Snake. "Those are human beings. That doesn't mean anything to you?" asks Izuku. "Not anymore," says the snake. "What makes a man like this?" "What makes a man?" Izuku takes his necklace off and forms the big axe. "The one that cut All Might. I'm gonna take your head off your shoulders and you're gonna deserve it along with every second of this," says Izuku before doing exactly what he promised. It was kinda anticlimactic. He expected some big fight to the finish, but he didn't have a scratch on him. The only part of him that hurt was his wrist. Izuku looks over to the car. The dragon was driving. He just wiped the boss and his left hand and it was surprisingly easy. He picks up the snake's corpse and is going to text Kurogiri for a portal when freeze comes a voice. It's about 20 dudes all decked out in SWAT team tactical gear along with maybe 30 or so pro heroes, including his father. Shit. Chapter 79. Freeze. Come the roughly 50 cops and pro heroes behind him. He sticks his hands up, dropping the snake with a thud and a squelch. "Gentlemen," says Katsueki, "how are we doing tonight?" "Good, I hope. I just figured I'd stop by and help you out a little. I'll be on my way now, if that's okay with you." Much to Izuku's surprise, the general consensus is yeah. They actually don't care if he leaves. "Hey, just by the way, we're gonna go back to the mansion and pocket some shit if you wanna come with us," says a cop. "For real? This isn't like a trap, is it?" asks Katsueki. "We all know you're Hisashi's boy. Don't worry, we'll take it to our graves. He made sure before telling us. But if we wanted you, we'd have you," says the same cop. "Okay. Well, first, what the fuck, Dad?" asks Izuku. "Sorry, I thought they should know," says Hisashi. "Second, yeah, sure. Is there anything I'm not allowed to take?" asks Izuku. "You can't take money, cars or firearms," says Hisashi. "Firearms and cars are all tracked pretty well and money goes to the police station for funding and all that." "Can I take the body?" asks Izuku. "I guess. We'll just say you killed him and took it. Leave the head though so we can identify him," says Hisashi. "I want the head. I'm leaving a heart," says Izuku. "Dude, your son is metal as hell," says one of the heroes. "Oh my god, he wasn't joking." "There we go," says Izuku before wiping the blood off on his jeans. "Now I can take the head." He gets some looks for that one, but he wants it and he earned it and now it's his. Izuku decides to stick by Hisashi while they walk back. "Sorry about telling people about you. I thought it would be important if you showed up," says Hisashi. You could have told me not to show up, says Izuku. Yeah, but I don't feel right telling you what to do, says Hisashi. Plus if you hadn't been here the snake would have gotten away. Good job with that by the way. It was nothing. Plus the bastard had way more than the coming, says Izuku. Well, good job either way, says Hisashi. They walk in silence for a bit. Hisashi is fidgeting a little bit, looking around. Something you wanna tell me? Asks Izuku. Remember that fight we had? Like the actual fight? Asks Hisashi. I should have beat your ass. Yeah, I remember, says Izuku. Sorry about it, says Hisashi. It's whatever, says Izuku. I haven't drank since then, says Hisashi. Really? Asks Izuku. Yes, really. I don't keep it in the house or in the office anymore. I should have quit years ago. Better late than never, yeah? Says Hisashi. I'm proud of you, man, says Izuku. That takes a lot. I know a couple guys with similar problems. I know it's hard to work through. I'm proud of you. I really am. Thanks, kid, says Hisashi. Don't thank me. You're the one doing all the work, says Izuku. I'm doing it, starts Hisashi. Don't do it for me, interrupts Izuku. I'm not, says Hisashi. Good, replies Izuku. I'm doing it for me. Not entirely but mostly. I'm doing it for a couple others, you included. But it's mainly to be better than what I was. I don't want your forgiveness, says Hisashi. You won't get it, replies Izuku. I just want you to see me and know I'm better and that anything like that isn't gonna happen, says Hisashi. Guilt eats you up, huh? Asks Izuku. Like nothing else, replies Hisashi. Good. You deserve it. We all do. Do you hate yourself? Asks Izuku. A lit, replies Hisashi. You should hate yourself a lot. It keeps you going, says Izuku. It keeps me going at least. That sounds kinda sad, says Hisashi. It's nicer than you'd think, says Izuku. Hisashi just hums in response. He didn't really need to say anything, and besides they were here. Izuku makes a beeline to the top floor where he knew the snake's office should have been. He's in an office. It's probably the one he's looking for. Actually, scratch that, he just found a box of 12 quirky racing bullets in this desk. It's definitely his. He takes the bullets, by the way. He wants them. If he ever finds the time he'd like to shoot Overhaul with one of these, then he'd probably beat him to death. Slowly. Maybe he'd let Ira get some hits, and if she's interested. She probably wouldn't be, but it's fine, he'd make sure he gets what he deserves. Izuku smiles to himself as he pockets a pack of nice cigars. When did he start to enjoy hurting people? Well, he's said it like a million times by now, but the things he hurts aren't people. Even still, a year ago he would have hated to hurt things like them even if he knew it was a necessity. He never thought he'd enjoy it. Well, things don't always turn out like you plan. Like his father. When he was a kid he thought his dad would always be there for him. When he was a little older he thought his dad would never be there for him. He thought he'd never become an alcoholic because of what it did to him, to the family, but look at him now. He thought he'd never kill a man. He certainly never thought he'd be the king of all vampires in existence. He didn't think him and his dad would be looting a house together. And that a bunch of cops and heroes would be looting the place with him. He grabbed a nice watch. A Rolex was a Submariner. A new one, he thinks. He's heard these things are super hard to come by. Lucky him. He also grabbed a bar sign. Like a neon sign. With a big titty bar made on the front. Dabi and Toga would love this. He's getting distracted from his monologue. He never thought he'd get along with or respect his dad ever again. Maybe it's soft of him. Maybe he's weak or just plain stupid for forgiving. Well, starting to forgive the man so easily. Life is full of the unexpected. Chapter 80. Izuku's meeting with the vigilantes. He's paid Kurogiri to provide a meeting space and some drinks. It's definitely gonna be cramped. It'll work though. He told them all he was scouting the snake's house. He hasn't told them he killed him yet. He'll let them know he killed the red dragon while he's at it. He's got it planned out too. It's gonna be cool. Normally he's not into being super flashy or cocky. Well, a little sure, but not like what he just did. He's gonna love the look on their faces. He's damn proud of himself too. The snake. Not just any bum or even any normal mob boss. Literally one of the most dangerous men on the planet, and he killed him. Sure, he jumped him and blew his leg and tail off before he could do anything, but still. Damn, he really did that. He really did that. Portals are opening and people are coming in. They're still under the impression that they're raiding the snake's house. They think tonight's gonna be a hard night. Getting shot at. Maybe losing the man in the stool next to them. Izuku's happy he gets to tell them they've got the night off. Speed Demon's here too. He was never coming to the raid, but Izuku invited him to help with planning. It looks like everyone's here. Time to get started. Izuku takes a glass and taps his claws against it to get everyone's attention. Looks like we've got everybody, so let's start, says Izuku. What's the plan, boss? Asks Victor. Victor always helps him with stuff like this. Asking the right questions and giving him segues into what he wants to say next. He's a good partner. No plan. Raid isn't happening. Last night while I was watching the place, the police and some heroes showed up and raided the place. It was kinda cool. They were decked out in SWAT gear and all that, says Izuku. Did they get him? Asks Johnny. Nah. Him, Red Dragon, and the Titanium Titan all got away in a bulletproof van. I tried to stop them, but you know how that goes, says Izuku before kicking his feet up onto the table. Boss, are those boots snakeskin? Asks Victor. This perceptive bastard. Sure are, says Izuku. Where'd you get them? Asks Victor. Izuku gives him the "you know where I got them" before saying just that. The room explodes. Cheers, shouts of joy, and congratulations fill the air. Drinks pour and cheeks get red. Not everybody stayed to party. Some left, but Izuku expected that. What he didn't expect is that Speed Demon stayed. He's usually not one for socialization. He did stick by Izuku's side because he hasn't really got to know most of these people. That's fair in his position. Izuku would probably do the same. But maybe not. He's a little tipsy. Izuku and Speed Demon find themselves tucked into a booth. Just them. Hey, so you normally don't join us for this kind of stuff. I'm glad to have you, don't get me wrong. But like, why? Or rather, why now? Asks Izuku. Well, people aren't my thing, but I wanted to talk to you, says Speed Demon. What about? Asks Izuku. You've wiped most of the leaders out. I know that when that happens, the grunts are supposed to go to the closest leader. It's just Japan's boss left. They'll be down here soon, says Speedy. Will they? They run things like a yakuza here. You think the randos are gonna work with that? Asks Izuku. I do, replies Speedy. The leader here's been wanting to break tradition. You know him? Asks Izuku. He's my brother, says Speedy. Oh, says Izuku. Are we good? 'Cause I'm probably gonna kill your brother. Me and him aren't decent. We haven't been in a while, says Speed Demon. You've seen him once before, right? Just once, says Izuku. He's faster than me. Faster than I can see. He's mean. Not like the snake. The snake would brush things off. He'd been at the top too long. He forgot other people were trying to shake the totem. My brother doesn't let things slide. He'll have people out looking for you. The snake was defensive, and you've been able to pretend you weren't all of that dangerous, up until you turned the tables. He knows what he's up against, and he's probably gathering people to look for you now, says Speedy. Izuku doesn't think he's ever seen the guy talk this much. So what do you think I should do? Asks Izuku. Speed Demon tilts his head back and forth like he's talking to himself before saying, if I were you, I'd lay low. Maybe quit while you're ahead. I don't wanna see any of you get hurt. Izuku's a little hurt, He thought Speedy would have known him better by now. I appreciate the warning, but we're gonna keep pushing. We've got 'em cornered. Sure, they'll fight a little harder, but that's only because they know that we're gonna win, says Izuku. You sure? Asks Speedy. Yeah, I'm sure, replies Izuku. You're gonna get yourself killed. If not yourself, then some of them. Maybe most of them. I think you're making a mistake. Sorry, but I think you are being really stupid. I wanna shout at you. I wanna just scream at you because I've seen a brother go and I don't wanna see that again. I'm going home before I get too drunk, says Speedy as Izuku grabs his wrist as he leaves. He looks him in the eye and he says, hey, we'll be alright. We'll win and everything is gonna be fine. Speedy just stares at him before sighing, be careful please. Did you make gloves to go with the boots? Yeah, I did actually. I also made a poncho for me and a purse for my girl. I ran out after that. I've got some small pieces here and there but nothing I can make things with, says Izuku. That's kinda fucked, man. Look, just be careful. I'm going home, says Speedy. Chapter 81. The Titanium Titan or Ben Walker was speaking with the head of the Japanese branch of the Serpent Ichirotma. You're the boss. If you say it, it's final, says Walker. I am the boss, but our branch has been led by a council since before we were born. They're set in their ways. They want to stay a Yakuza, says Tma. We won't survive like that. We're neck deep in vigilantes, cops, and heroes. The cops and heroes won't bother us if we stay a Yakuza, but the vigilantes are gonna kill us. Drop the pretenses and let's solve our problems, says Walker. We'll talk with them. I can't promise anything, but we'll talk, says Tma. And talk they do as they were on their way to a meeting with them. It was a nice meeting space. The elders had these nice recliners. 5 in total, 1 for each of them. Walker and Tma had a couch facing their 5. It's good to see you all again, says Tma as he sits down. I wish I could say the same. I know you aren't thrilled with the topic of conversation, but do hear us out, says Tma. We wouldn't have met with you if we weren't willing to listen. That's wonderful. As you all know, we're backed into a corner and need a way out, starts Tma. And whose fault is that? I do apologize for the mistakes I've made and I will more than make up for them, says Tma. As I was saying, we're in a corner with these vigilantes. I've got things ready to assassinate most of them. All I need is your go-ahead. We will break our code, I know, but it's that or we get hunted until nothing is left. Or until they grate themselves against us. I have my doubts that it'll be that easy, says Tma. We have our doubts about you. Alright, fuck this, says Walker. The snake ordered it. He outranks all of you and we're going through with it. End of discussion. Look where that rank got him. No, we won't be going through with anything. And we voted you out before the meeting. We don't need some young upstart uprooting our ways, and drawing attention to us. What we don't need is you old fossils. You sit back here talking about your honor or your code while we're out there getting shot at to line your pockets. The boss got shit done and I'll kill any one of you who talks shit on him, says Walker. You and your boss were animals. That remark ended up being a mistake as Walker held up his promise. He beat them to death. It wasn't hard, they were old and weak. He's young and strong. He's invincible. So how much trouble am I gonna be in for that? Asks Walker. In most circumstances I'd kill you here. But they disobeyed the boss, so that's how I'm gonna justify this, says Tma. So what now? Asks Walker. Well, I actually had more planned for this meeting. I thought it would last longer. I normally talk to them about budgeting, deals, expanding all the office work that comes with the job. They were actually pretty good at that, says Tma. Should I not have killed them? Asks Walker. No. I understand. I'm actually glad you did it. They were about to demote me. They've been around a while, but it was time for them to go. They weren't capable of change. A species that can't adapt goes extinct, says Tma. Then I'm glad I could help, says Walker. I wouldn't call it help. I need to replace all of them. But it wasn't a hindrance, says Tma. So now we get after Katsueki? Asks Walker. Not yet. I don't know where he lives or works like I do for some of them. But we will drag him out and we will kill him, says Tma. I'll kill him. I promised I'd gut him the last time we spoke, says Walker. I know you, keep your promises, says Tma. Speaking of Katsueki, he was at home with Dabi. Eri was there somewhere, probably her room. She likes to lock herself in there. So I tell him the people he goes out of his way to hurt are human beings, that they have a soul. I ask him if that means anything to him and he says, not anymore. What a freak, says Izuku. Terrible, replies Dabi. What does that to a person? I genuinely can't understand it, says Izuku. I mean, I've kind of been through it, says Dabi. I'll level with you, you're a bad person. You are. But you're not soulless. You show remorse and compassion. You're messed up and not everybody's gonna see it, but you're still human. This guy was subhuman. He was a real sicko, says Izuku. Honestly, I still can't believe you killed the snake, says Dabi. I can't believe nobody beat me to it, says Izuku. Yeah. Hey, thanks for saying that shit about me. That feels nice, man, says Dabi. No problem. I think I figured out why they bother me so much, says Izuku. Who's they're bad people? Asks Dabi. Yes and no. We're bad people. But we're not soulless. I might not have as much of a soul as you do. But I hold on to what I have. They made their choice to lose it. When I drink their blood, I taste their soul. I can feel it. I can feel your soul. I can feel Toga's. I can't feel theirs. There's really nothing there, says Izuku. They can't just lose it? Asks Dabi. How do you mean? Asks Izuku. Like if they're just going through it pre-villain, it can't just shatter? Asks Dabi. A soul can be shrunk through negative experiences, but as it gets smaller it gets denser and still burns just the same. They say villains are made, not born, and that's partly true, but at the end of the day it's a choice. It's always a choice. They chose to be what they are and that's why they deserve what I do to them. Author's note: sorry this one took 2 weeks. I tried to do something with this chapter but it didn't really fit with the rest of what was happening. Well, it did, but it doesn't have as much impact just yet, so I'm gonna have to wait on it. I did try a couple times to fit it in, but I ended up scrapping it and restarting the whole thing. I don't really feel like I need to say it, but things are gonna go downhill a little bit. Also, I might not get a chapter out next week because I'm going camping, so we'll see where that leaves us. Frozen Drake. I feel that man. Look at how far he's come. It was always planned to make him less human. It's absolutely going to affect his time at UA. It's going to affect his thought process on almost everything. It's going to affect who he hangs out with. He's straight up going to dislike some of his classmates and teachers. About him acting like a villain or a monster, I see what you're getting at and I agree, but I always called him an animal in my head. Not exactly human but not soulless like a monster. Like he's clearly not a good person. He likes hurting people. He enjoys killing. Naturally he still does good things, indisputable good things like saving Eri or trying to save the Water Rose duo. One of the things I really wanted to do with Midoriya was make him evil depending on point of view. Star Wars introduced me to the concept of perspective truths and I really wanted to do something with that. I wanted him to be polarizing. I've seen people that absolutely agree with his philosophy and some that would genuinely detest it. Midoriya's possible, depending on point of view, bastardization is one of the funnest parts of the story. Thank you for the comment. It gave me a nice way to organize my thoughts. It was very helpful. Kaj, just a little fucked is the idea. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the chapter. Devashish Kairotelios, I had fun writing chapter 14 Izuku. He felt like a joke character the whole chapter. They can try to kill him. They can even succeed. He stands by it. I looked at it on a map. There's no way it's a 20-minute drive from top to bottom. It's almost 2,000 miles long. I wish I could cover two. That's a wrap, folks, but until I find a way to solve the issue of why my audio suddenly stopped 40 seconds before the end, I will use this message. Anyways, see you all next part.